Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anirudh Malpani. Now, what really comes into your mind when you hear Anirudh Malpani? Or, for example, I'll do this one better. What comes to your mind if I would have said I'm Ibrahim Lodi or say I'm Navjot Singh? The first thing that would come to your mind was, oh, he's a Hindu, he's a Muslim or a Christian, whatever the religion be. Now, for me to say it's very easy because religion identity is the first identity, the primary identity which comes into your mind when you talk about someone. Be it an ideology, be it a person, or be it an event. Now also, if you are still listening to me while I'm talking to you, if you are paying attention to me, you might be wondering, ye kaun hai yaar? Why should I listen to him? Or some of you might have already started googling my name, जो apparently कुछ मिलना नहीं है उसमें आप लोगों को. Or probably Instagram पे you must have started checking कि इसके followers हैं भी या नहीं. So what I'm trying to, my conclusion of this particular thing is कि that media and the narrative of media is very important to us. We get to hear of anything, anyone, or we want to know about anything and anyone. The first thing we do is we go on to Google. So media narrative is very important to us, as is religion. These two factors apparently guide and bind our entire life, our lifestyles, and our thinking. Devya Sajjano, welcome to my TED Talk, where I'll be talking to you about religion, media, and its intersection with law. Now, to put in perspective, media, religion, and law are not really three different components to be talked about. They interact with each other time and again. If media and law are interacting, the religion might have a certain say to it. And I'll be explaining this through my TED Talk to you. Now, to put it into context, let's discuss Babri Masjid demolition case. We all know about Babri Masjid demolition. In 1992, December 1992, Babri Masjid was, or the disputed structure as the Supreme Court has said it, was demolished by certain car sevaks. And not getting into the merits of it, after 29 years in 2021, Supreme Court has finally adjudged that who this structure belongs to or land belongs to. The purpose of telling you this is not who has the ownership of this land. The Supreme Court has already done that for us. But it is for us to understand that how deeply media, religion and law are intertwined. It was a dispute between two major religious sects of the country, Hindus and Muslims. And then media for 29 years. See, Babri Masjid demolition was followed by riots, bomb blasts, parliamentary debates, debates on news channels and whatnot. For 29 years it was used as cash cow by the media channels and other media platforms and print media as well. So it is to be understood, but after the religious communities, when they had fought, they had resorted to let's see you in the court, and that's how it was finally decided. But not necessarily the law always has the final say. The final say might be for media. For example, I will share an anecdote with you. Recently, I was appearing before the Honorable High Court of MP in Indore. It was a petition for seeking protection for our interfaith marriage. We had appeared before the court. We sought relief that we need protection because certain peredar of some mazhab had threatened the couple if that they don't have a divorce or they don't start living separately, they would be beheaded. Court was kind enough to give us the relief. Police had given them 2 constables for protection and whatever followed. What's interesting is what followed after 10 to 12 days after that. After 10 to 12 days, I get a call from a certain very respectful journalist of a very opinionated digital media, and she told me that she wanted to do an interview with. I was really happy. Who doesn't need attention in life? And later, but I was told that you have to have a certain narrative to it. So she had the story. All she needed was my name to put it. She told me that you will have to say it and accept it on record. That the woman was really sad and she was forced into this marriage. And also that these mazhab ke peredars were actually saving her life from mental and physical agony which was to be followed. It's been good 3-4 months to it. The couple is really happy. But the interviewer isn't, the journalist isn't. So, but now when we try to understand what religion, law and media, how do they intersect, we'll have to understand what religion really is. Because it's a very wide definition, very wide term to understand. How did religion really come into existence. We are not trying to follow a mythological understanding of any religion, be it Hindu, Islam, or any other practices for that. Now, basically, a group of people, historically speaking, a group of people come together because they have certain similar and identical practices. They form a group. Now, when they keep doing these practices time and again for generations, it becomes a custom for them over a period of time. Now, when certain elements they think would in their group don't want to follow this practice, they want an enforcement authority on that. That if you don't do this, ये नहीं करोगे तो ये हो जाएगा, खाना नहीं खाओगे तो भगवान गुस्सा हो जाएंगे, something of that sort. So this is where the religion comes into play, and who better authority than himself? तो जब भगवान का डर दिखाया, भगवान अल्लाह जिस भी नाम से हम उन्हें जाने, डर दिखाया, तो this is how religion came into place. This is by theory of it. And for countries, for societies where there is only one religious community, religion is the law. For example, the Aryavarta period, the Mahabharata period in India, Sanatani practices were the only religion they knew. For Ottoman Empire, the Sharia law was the only law they knew, and the religion was literally their law. But when it comes to India, law stands a pedestal above than religion. Because here we have to respect Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, Jains, Buddhist, and n number of religions for them to harmoniously coexist. Now, in order to understand how these three spheres intersect with each other, that is religion, media, and law, it is also important to be understood how two of them intersect with each other. Now, say media and religion. We try to understand, कुछ होता है, media कुछ बताती है. That's not the end of it. But it's true. What we understand is also a part of it. For media, religion has been their spectator sport for them. They've been using it for years now and will be using it for next I don't know how many years. If you switch on channel today, at least 7 out of 10 channels would be showing you the Bageshwar Dham controversy at the moment. Or they would be showing you the forced conversions in Punjab where they touch a certain CD or electronic device and they get a shock and they get a divine intervention. Or maybe the Gyanvapi in the Shivling controversy. And so does the media also play an important role for religion. Media is the best messenger of God the God has ever sent to earth. And I say so because nothing preaches you or tells you about religion like media does. If it were not for B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata and Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, we would not really know Mahabharata and Ramayana. I wouldn't, and I sure 70% of my fellow Hindus would. For example, the Kun Faya Kun song in Rockstar. I don't think anyone would know कि किसने लिखा था, who was the real Sufi writer to it, unless it was for Rockstar and A.R. Rahman to tell us. Similarly, but media and religion also get into head-on collisions at times. The Pathan controversy, we all are well aware of that. Certain color was worn by a certain actress, which was not liked by a certain sect of certain religion. I can't really name them now. Similarly, certain film, say Kashmir Files, was not really liked by a certain sect of certain religion. There are head-on collisions for that as well. And that is really necessary. It keeps the liveliness of it. If all these three collude amongst each other, I don't know what's going to be there, what's going to be left of this country. Now, similarly, law and media also intersect with each other. And how do we know it? Media is not just the eyes of law. These are not just your eyes. मतलब camera पे कुछ record है या TV पे कुछ दिखा दे, that's not just it. Be it any government authority, be it any order, be it any government action, they might not consider you or I as the democratic people as a relevant factor, but they really consider कि TV पे क्या दिखाएंगे, ये TV पे अच्छा लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा. And not just that, so it's not about the dar the media has for these law and the people related to it. It's also about the positive change they bring. We all are aware of the Nirbhaya. We all are aware of the Nirbhaya rape case. The rape was on 16th of December. Apparently, after that, there was a movement all over India for women protection and against these sexual crimes against women. What is important to understand here is, within 6 months of the event, and I account media for its contribution, that there were amendments in the law which were pending for good 10-20 years back then. The age of juvenile in the Juvenile Justice Act for heinous crime was reduced from 18 years to 16 years, which was a big achievement as a country, but not at the cost of what happened. Similarly, rape case was there in Indore. There was a rape case, a girl 6-month-old was raped at the railway station of Indore. Media covered it in detail. Every day court proceedings were covered. In record 23 days, the wrongdoer was convicted, which was a record in itself. So media does have positive effects as well. Similarly, now how does law play an important role for media? Law keeps reminding media that with great power comes great responsibility. It keeps telling media that it's important. Recently, I'm sure every one of us is well aware of that a passenger had peed on a co-passenger in the Air India flight. Whatever happened is subject to trial. The court has to decide it. But certain media channels have already decided it for us, that he's the wrongdoer. But media works faster than the court generally. So what happened next was, Justice Joseph of the Honorable Supreme Court had come down heavily on the news channel, had come down heavily on the Broadcast Council. He had asked the Broadcasting Council that why can't these hosts be thrown out of it? So these intersections again play a very important role. Now, how do religion and law work hand in hand or work against each other? This is the third intersection of it. Religion has law, as we discussed, law is at the higher pedestal than the religion. Law really guides how a religion works in a country like India, which might not be possible in countries like probably, which are say Saudi Arab or other countries which work as per religion, where religion is the law. Law regulates religion. The courts in India are really the arbiters of it, that what religious practices would be right, what religious practices could be considered, what can't be considered. Say sati, child marriage, they were both prohibited by prohibition of Sati Act and prohibition of Child Marriage Act. Similarly, Teen Talaq recently, the Supreme Court had declared it as illegal, because it was an illegal practice. The law had a upper hand on religion as far as India is concerned. But law cannot disregard religion, of course, because it's the religious entity, how I started my talk, because it's the first entity, the primary trait that we discuss and we relate to. Yes, I am a Hindu. Yes, I am a Muslim. After that, other things follow. So religion is really respected by law. And there are personal laws. There are two types of laws. There are personal laws as well. Say for marriage, we have a different right. Different religion have different rights. Different number of spouses. Then for succession, different religion have different. There's Hindu Succession Act. There's Muslim Succession. Recently also, this event where Shikharji, a Jain pilgrimage, was declared as a tourist place by the government. The Jain had raised voice against it and the government had to take a few steps back and they're reconsidering it. So the point of discussing these intersections with each other is only to tell you that they are so intermingled that we can't really separate it out. And for us to decide and discuss that what really is relevant, and for us to decide and discuss what really is important amongst three is that we have to set up a balance between these three. There is no particular situation where these three work perfectly fine. That's the utopian concept. There cannot be a perfect society. But what really important is for us to understand how could we participate in it? How could us as an individual make a change? And for that, we'll have to understand that media, practically speaking, media majorly is run by the biggest corporate houses of the country, the ones having the most amount of money. Religion are led by certain men and women, all religions in India, which do not really like diversion or interruption by anyone, be it even the law. Now, when it comes to law, Law gives you that freedom where you could really challenge things, where you could really ask why and why not. You could really begin with saying why. When you don't like a bill, you could object to the bill. It's always open to objection. When there's a law you don't like, you could challenge it before the court, the constitutionality of the court, before the constitutional court, the High Court and the Supreme Court. Even when you don't like religious practices, you could challenge it before the court. Say, Teen Talaq was challenged and declared illegal. The Sabrimala entry case, where women weren't allowed to enter the Sabrimala premises. And even media. When you don't like media working in certain manner, when there were hosts on media talk shows giving names to people of certain religion or certain individuals, and even media trials were highly objected by the Supreme Court. Now, how do as individuals we make a difference to it? Not everyone wants to be an advocate. It's really a not so boring but not very interesting job to do either. So not everyone wants to be an advocate कि मुझे कुछ change आना है तो पहले मैं वकालत पढ़ूं और फिर change लाऊं. That would make no sense, of course. But how do we contribute to it? How do we really do it? The easiest way probably to do it, and here I ask not begin with why, but I conclude it with why not. As belonging to a religion, we've always been told by our parents, teachers, friends, and who not, that we should, probably if you're a Hindu, go read Bhagavad Gita. If you're a Muslim, you go read Quran Sharif, read Bible, or read Shri Guru Granth Sahib. Reason being? The only reason being that you'll get an insight into it, have your own interpretations, it will solve out your individual problems, give you a better understanding of things because it affects your life. Why not do that with law? Why don't we read policies? Why don't we read guidelines? Why don't we understand what law? At least start with it. So the importance of legal education is very important. This is how I wish to conclude with it. We have to be legally educated to have an informed opinion about anything and everything. Because technically speaking, media works on philosophical concepts, it does. So does religion. But what you say and speak in law, it's there, right there. You can't really change it. It is really there. So it is important for us to understand that we can contribute. We can start from small things such as we could plan our own taxes, teach our children, teach our students, teach our friends what constitutional rights are, how do you act or interact with a police member. You could really start with it taking to a higher stand. So I really wish and I really hope that we could really be aware and have informed insight and not just what just media tells us or any religious person tells us. It's for us to have our own opinions, especially at this time where there's a need of it. Thank you.